So, hey guys, a few days ago, one of the men in the Unhooked Academy community shared something that really hit close to home. It was part of an exercise we do called the default future, where you look ahead and ask, what happens if I don't change? His answer gave me goosebumps. So, in today's video, I want to share with you what he wrote, and I'll show you why this 5-minute practice can be one of the most powerful tools for getting clarity, direction, and lasting freedom from porn. Before we dive into today's episode, I have one request. If you enjoy these episodes, please do me a huge favor and subscribe, follow, or consider leaving us a review. It really does help make a huge difference for a small channel like this one, and it helps us reach more men and make a greater impact on the world. So if you're able to support with a review or a like, or with sharing this with a friend, it would really mean a lot. And now, back to the show. So what is the default future and why is it so important? Your default future essentially is the life that you will be living in the future if you keep living the way you are. If you keep going down the same path with the same habits, the same mindset, the same approach to life, where will that lead you in the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years? That is your default future. So today I want to talk about why this is so powerful, why it's important to do. And then I'll also share some real examples, one from a member of the Unhooked Academy community. I'll also share my own example of doing this exercise. And then I'll talk about some of the common things that I've seen with men who do this exercise, some of the insights that they have, and how it can be so powerful in motivating your recovery. A little side note on this default future can be done with any bad habit that you want to look at. You know, whether it's porn addiction or eating too much junk food, playing video games, scrolling on social media, it can be really helpful to ask, what are the consequences of this behavior? Where will this lead me if I don't make a change? If I keep living this way 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, what will that look like? So first, why is this so important? Well, the first reason is that it gives you clarity on the consequences of your addiction, particularly with porn addiction or sex addictions or some of these maybe minor addictions that aren't so obvious, like heroin or substance abuse. A lot of times the consequences of these behaviors can be very subtle or long-term or downstream. You don't necessarily see the consequences right away. Sometimes you do. Sometimes if you're cheating on your partner or, paying money on OnlyFans sites or something like that, you do see consequences right away. But it's not always obvious to see what the long-term ramifications of this behavior are. And so when you take the time to really look into the future and say, where will this lead me if I don't make a change? What are the consequences of doing this on a daily basis? If I keep going down this path, what will that look like 5 years from now or 10 years from now or 20 years from now? You can start to get a lot more clarity on the consequences of your behavior. And this is really important because, again, a daily habit with porn, it's easy to make the excuse or to say, hey, what's wrong with this? It's just a little bit of harmless entertainment. When in reality, added up over time, over years or decades, it can have profound detrimental effects on your life. So that is the first reason why this is so important, is that you just get to actually see where this is taking you, which you might not notice if you're just looking in the present moment or just in the next few days or weeks. So that's the first one, is it gives you clarity on the consequences of your behavior. The second major benefit to doing this default future exercise is that it can help engender a sense of fear about your future. Now, we have access to two really powerful motivators for change. One is fear of, some outcome that you don't want. The other is desire. Desire is a powerful motivator for change, and it's a good, sustainable, lasting motivator for change. Fear, on the other hand, is a more powerful motivator for change. It can actually kick you in the ass a little bit more and get you started. The problem with it is that it's not necessarily sustainable in the long run. So we do need to balance both of these motivators. We need a little bit of fear. We also need a little bit of desire or aspiration. But this practice of envisioning your default future can really give you some healthy fear about where your life is headed. So that's one of the reasons for doing this practice, is that it can actually give you that boost of energy for your recovery. It can help you get that sense of, oh my gosh, I really need to get started on this now. I need to change my life. So first, I want to share one of the examples from one of the members in the Unhooked Academy community. This is the program that I run for men, helping people break free from porn and sex addiction. And one of the first exercises in module 1 in the course is going through what we call the default future exercise. In this exercise, you envision what your life will look like if you keep going down this path. And so this member, he gave me permission to share this. So I just want to read this to you. And for context here, he said he did use a little bit of AI to help him with this journaling prompt. He kind of put some ideas of his own in and then asked AI, what can you tell me about my future, where I'm headed if I don't make a change? So this is the response that he shared with the community. What happens if I continue living my life this way? You will keep fading, not in a cinematic, tragic way, but in a quiet, pathetic one. Every time you give in to that compulsion, a small part of you dies. Not dramatically, just numbs. And one day you'll realize that almost nothing makes you feel anything anymore. Your brain will crave sharper, darker stimuli just to feel a spark. Sex will lose its depth. People will turn into props. You'll stop seeing faces. You'll only see flesh. The idea of love will disgust and terrify you because it requires vulnerability, something porn has trained out of you. You'll start lying, not because you want to, but because shame becomes the air you breathe. You'll hide your habits, delete your history, pretend you're fine, but the truth will rot inside you. And the more you hide it, the more it will own you. You'll wake up tired every day. You'll sleep will be fractured, your energy flatlined, your focus gone. You'll forget small things. What you were saying mid-sentence, where you left your keys, why you even walked into a room. The dopamine system that once gave you drive will be burned out from the constant flooding. You'll live in permanent grayscale. You'll start feeling like a ghost walking through your own life, watching yourself say the right things, smile, go to work, hit the gym, but inside there's just static. You'll look in the mirror and it'll feel like looking at a stranger wearing your skin. And the longer you live in that disconnection, the harder it will be to climb out because your brain will adapt. It will normalize this emptiness. You'll start to believe this is just who you are. Emotionless, selfish, addicted, but it's not who you are. It's who you're becoming by repetition. Years will pass, and when you do meet someone who actually sees you, who could love you, you'll sabotage it. You'll feel unworthy, anxious, ashamed. You'll seek validation through the same old patterns. You'll turn genuine affection into performance. You'll crave intensity over intimacy, novelty over connection, and you'll end up alone, scrolling, chasing ghosts. One day, you'll look back at the younger version of you, the one with fire, kindness, curiosity, and you'll barely recognize him. You'll wish you could feel something again, anything. But the cost of chasing pleasure without presence will have been your ability to feel it all. That's the trajectory if you don't stop. It's not punishment, it's chemistry. You're dismantling your reward system one orgasm at a time. But here's the truth. If you do stop, even for a while, that glass wall between you and life will start to crack. The light will start coming back through. You'll feel small waves of connection again, a breeze, a conversation, a real look in someone's eyes. And you'll remember what being alive actually feels like. That's what's on the line, not just your future, your soul's access to the present moment. So that was the share that one of the members in the community put into the group chat in the community. And it really, again, it touched me. It resonated. It hit home. I recognized a lot of those things in myself. A lot of the guys in the community did as well. And it accurately paints a picture of what your life could look like in the future if you don't make that change. So for me, mine was a little bit different, and I've shared this on podcasts before, but for me, I had this moment in my life. It was a big turning point for me in my life where I saw my future. This was when I was still very much engaged in my addiction. And I had this moment of insight of seeing where I was headed if I didn't make a change. For me, I saw that I was going to be some creepy old man, 65, 70 years old, trying to hit on girls at college bars. And I would be alone and empty and unfulfilled. And that was really not the life I wanted to live. I wanted to have deep, meaningful connections with a partner. I wanted to have deep friendships, to live a life of contentment and inner peace and fulfillment. And so that default future that I saw was highly motivating for me. It helped give me that healthy sense of fear of saying, this is not how I want to be living my life. So I also want to share a few of the most common things I hear when men do this, I hear this a lot when I get on discovery calls with guys or in the community. Some of the common things I hear is what people see in their future if they don't make changes: losing their relationships. If they're married, they might see themselves divorced. They might see themselves losing custody of their children, disconnected from family and friends, increasingly isolated, no motivation or passion to pursue hobbies or dreams. I also see a lot of people reflecting that they'll be overweight or out of shape, maybe eating junk food and not getting to the gym. Just that feeling of being alone and not living your best life. The one other thing I hear so often from men, they'll often tell me, and they say they look into their future 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And the thing that scares them the most, they'll be living the exact same life 5 years from now or 10 years from now. No progress, no growth, the same mediocre relationship, mediocre intimacy or connection with their partner, that they'll just be living the same way 5 years or 10 years from now. And that can be the most scary of all. Hopefully, this will inspire you to take some time to do this exercise for yourself, to sit down and journal for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and to say, if I don't make any changes, if I keep living the way I'm living now, what will my life look like 5 years from now or 10 years from now? And to really paint a picture for yourself, get very clear on the details. What kind of house are you living in? What does your body look like? What are your morning routines, your habits? What do you see in this future that scares you? And to be a little bit exaggerating with it, to say, okay, if it really does get worse, where could this lead me? Sometimes people see themselves not being around 5 years or 10 years from now because they would end up, wanting to leave this world. And that can be another really scary thing, is if you see where this is headed and see just the suffering that it can bring if you're not careful. So that's the power of this default future envisioning practice, is it helps you see with clarity the consequences of these behaviors over time. So that's it for today. I really hope that you do take the time to do this exercise. And if you want support in these practices, in these exercises, and if you want to join a community of like-minded men who understand, get yourself on the waitlist for the Unhooked Academy community. We are now currently doing a cohort system. So the doors are currently closed, but you can put yourself on the waitlist. Just go to unhookedacademy.com and we'll let you know when doors open up again. So that's it for today, folks. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, or follow, or consider sharing this with a friend. And we'll catch you guys on the next episode.